I'm not going to lie. This is seriously the 5th attempt that I'm trying to give birth to this video. So today I would like to talk about the mystery that we call inspiration. And at the end of this video, you will have learned that it still stays a mystery. Hi, I'm Christine. This is the part where I tell you who I am, and it always feels really cringe to me, but I do it. I help people who are stuck, whether that's in their art, their head, or both. Self-doubt, insecurities, creative ruts, overthinking, been there, done that. And if you want the official details, please check the description box below. Let me just dive into the video. Today I want to talk about the mystery that we call inspiration. Do you know that feeling when you are just waiting for inspiration to hit? That magical moment where everything just clicks and suddenly you are in a flow state, creating something hopefully brilliant. Yeah, it's really nice when that happens. But what about when it doesn't? What about those times when you really want to make something and you're totally in the mood, but nothing but garbage seems to come out of you? Or even worse, what about the times when you don't feel like creating at all? When everything just feels dull, uninspired, samey, and you wonder if you have lost whatever spark there was forever and ever. So let's talk about that. Because if you ever thought, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just be effortlessly creative like all the other people? Let me tell you, you're certainly not alone. I remember those times when I was still working as a professional artist, when my livelihood depended on it. That was a whole different ballgame. The pressure wasn't just about to create, but to create something great. But then again, for whom? For me? That wasn't the case anymore. Was it for the gallery, whose livelihood depended on my sales? A collector, a buyer, some vague audience? It all became a numbers game, and it had nothing to do with how I perceived art. Of course, the galleries needed money, understandably, and they wanted me to produce what sells. But I wanted to produce something that lit me up, that meant something. And I needed the money. And that's where the real struggle started. The more I wanted inspiration, the more I needed inspiration, the more it played hard to get. It's as if the brain just shuts down under all this pressure. Neuroscientists call this the creativity paradox. Yeah, there's a name for everything. The harder you push for the originality, the more your brain defaults to safe and predictable patterns. The prefrontal cortex, the thinking and planning part of your brain, gets in the way of the more free-flowing, spontaneous part that actually sparks creativity. We all know creativity and inspiration thrive on freedom, that internal sense of independence where you can just follow an idea because it pulls you. But the second it turns into a job, into something that has to perform, sell, justify itself, all that freedom shrinks. And it shrinked for me. And I don't have a neat answer for that one, because I don't think there is one. The business side of art is, at least for me, a necessary evil, but it sure as hell isn't where inspiration lives. So if you ever felt like the pressure kills inspiration, it's because Biologically, it kind of does. But that wasn't even the worst part. See, beyond all this external pressure, there was the internal pressure. And that was much worse, I find. That voice in the head that said, you have to stay productive at all times. You are not allowed to make dumb stuff. If it's not amazing, don't bother. And all of that was the real killer. Because when you believe that every single thing that you create must be brilliant, you begin to hesitate before you even start. You become overly careful. You second guess ideas that could have led somewhere really interesting. And worst of all, you stop playing. And when you stop playing, when you stop being curious, creativity, inspiration, all of that becomes just stiff. It becomes a job, a chore, a task, a thing to get right. And if you take it too seriously, you stop yourself. You don't allow yourself to explore anymore. You start filtering yourself, adjusting yourself before anything even hits the page. And that is a real tragedy when it happens, because some of the best creative breakthroughs happen when you just let go and allow yourself to make nonsense. First. So let's get this out of the way. We can't just wait for inspiration, but we also cannot force it. It's not that it never comes. It's that when it comes when it damn well pleases. Sometimes it just shows up when you least expect it, when you're doom scrolling, or when you're in the shower, or when you're staring at a wall thinking about snacks or something. And sometimes you just sit down, ready to create, fully in the mood, and absolutely nothing happens. It's weird, isn't it? But why is that? Because inspiration isn't a formula. It's not a button that we push. It's more like a cat. You can call it, but it will show up when it feels like it, not just because you want. And the more you put pressure on it to arrive, the more it just sinks into the cushion in the dark corner and ignores you. So if you have ever felt like you should be inspired and you're not, no matter what you do, yeah, relax. That's how it works for almost everyone. And here's where we often get it wrong. We get frustrated. We are disappointed in us. And we think that that frustration, that doubt, that feeling uninspired are signs that something's off, that something is wrong with us, that we are failing again, and that we are maybe not cut out for this. But it's a myth. And let's rethink self-doubt and frustration. What if they aren't a block? What if they are just part of the process? Doubt isn't proof that you're not good enough. It's proof that you care, that you want to grow, that you want to get better at something. But caring too much about the outcome too soon, that is what really kills creativity. Ever notice how a kid will draw 50 weird little monsters without stopping or editing or overthinking? They just bring it to life. They make it happen. They are in the process, in the present of doing, not obsessing over the result. And we become so damn serious about all of it. We want to get it right, and we don't want to disappoint anyone. At last, ourselves. And that's where we fall into the trap and we strangle our own creativity and inspiration. Because the truth is, if you want to create freely, you need to be okay with disappointing people. You need to be a little bit more disagreeable with others and with yourself. Not everyone is going to love what you make. Some people will be unimpressed. Some people will think you're dumb, you're a loser. Some will think it's weird. Some won't get it. What are we going to do about it? We can't control what other people are thinking. And we are not kids anymore. We can handle disappointment, or so they say. We don't need to be liked by everyone. And I think, especially in the beginning, this is something really difficult. But it gets easier with time. I believe that. The sooner we accept that, the freer we will become. And here's a little bit more good news. Just because you can't control inspiration and creativity doesn't mean you can't lure it in. And here are just a few weird things that nobody thinks about, that might help. Not everyone at all times, but it is what it is. Some things help some people some of the time. For example, do something boring. Seriously. Go fold your laundry. Walk without your phone. Stare out a window. Boredom is a great source. It creates space, and inspiration likes space. Doom scroll, but pay attention. Sometimes when I am mindlessly scrolling and collecting images or watching something, suddenly out of nowhere, something hits. I get this feeling, like an urge, like an impulse. That's where I start. The key is just noticing when something sparks instead of just consuming passively. And start before you feel ready. I know this one is annoying, but it works. For some people, some of the time. Make anything. Make something. Anything. Let it be terrible. This frustration is often part of the process, as I said earlier. Did you ever notice how sometimes your best ideas come after you have struggled for a while? After you have, taken a bath in self-pity? Suddenly, something opens up? Yeah, exactly. There is not one way to creativity. Some people create in a structured way. Some thrive in chaos. Some people perform best under pressure. And others need much more open space and time. There is no roadmap, no guarantee, no secret formula. I wish there was. I'm sorry. Let that be okay. So if you're ever sitting there, feeling uninspired and frustrated again, wondering if you're just bad at this whole creativity thing, stop. You're not failing. Maybe you're just in the middle of something. And inspiration, I believe it will come. Maybe not when you want it, maybe not when you expect it, but it will. And in the meantime, while you're not waiting for it, just keep making stuff however you can. Because that is the real trick to it all, isn't it? And here comes a little pitch at the end of the video. If you're wondering what your creative style even is, what naturally works for you, and what secretly holds you back, you can check out the Muse Persona Quiz. Oh my God, I tell you, I was in tech hell for the past week. It'll tell you exactly how your creativity ticks, where your strengths are, and how to stop fighting against your own nature. Find the link below in the description box, like all the other links in the description box. Click on them. Do something. And if this video was useful and of interest to you, please tell me what struggle with inspiration and creativity you have had. Maybe nobody ever talks about? And how did you overcome it? Please drop it in the comments. I'm always interested and curious. Let's see how many of us actually deal with the same unspoken nonsense. And again, thank you for spending some time with me, and I hope I see you soon. Do all the good stuff that every YouTuber tells you to do, like hit subscribe, notification bells, no pressure, but do it, and I will be forever grateful. Thank you so much. Speak soon. Bye for now.